Hello again. Here from Lakeland, Finland. I'm Inga, and I guess I have about 25-30 minutes to share some experience on the environment. And mm, I think we are not going to go really deeply into theory today. We'll cover it a little bit, but then I'll try to give some practical experience. Um, and give some examples of that, what we do here for environment in Finland in general, and then I will share even my personal experience on that. So this is our plan. This is what we do. Do you see that the slides are changing? Okay, good. So first, a couple of words from about that, where I am and why I'm sharing that experience on the environment. I'm an official guide of Lahti region. Lahti is the capital of Lakeland, Finland, and maybe some of you have visited us because it's very popular with international visitors and also with technical visitors who wants to learn some environmental issues from Lahti. And Lahti is a venue for international events and outdoor activities, like you can see here in the picture, our sports center. And there's much cultural education where we have unique venues and universities collaborate with businesses and citizens here, also internationally. And then, of course, we have much nature. We have the UNESCO Geopark here. We have Salpausselkä Ridge, the remnants of the Ice Age. And sustainability and well-being means a lot for us, really. So a bit of theory. When we speak about environment, we can mean really lots of things. And if you check dictionaries, for example, you can find out that they spoke about environment already, at least in the 19th century, meaning the physical surroundings or conditions in which we are, for example. Then environment can mean some social, political, or cultural circumstances in which we live and act, or of course the natural world or physical surroundings in general. And that maybe comes to your mind quite often when you hear that word environment. And when I spoke about Lahti region and like why I'm sharing this experience, that is like my environment. I'm here in this region and it influences me, and that's why I have that what I'm sharing today. And so depending on that, how you consider environment, you can see different types of environment. Like if it's natural environment, it can be terrestrial, aquatic, atmospheric, and so on. If it's constructed like our sports center, it's human-made. Actually, it's partly managed, natural managed environment, natural environment managed by humans, because we have those ski jumps in natural zones that were made by Ice Age. But in the picture that where it reads managed environment, you can see the natural mire, where is the human-made trail, and you can cross it safely for both sides. And then, for example, social environment. And nowadays we speak about offline and online environment, because of course internet, right now we are online. Online is great part of our life nowadays. And mass media is also on online nowadays a lot. Of course, social media is great part of our lives, of many of us. What about Finland? What we think of environment while here in Finland and how we take care of it? If you visit the official site of our region, you will read that the environmental work of the city of Lahti aims to foster the well-being of nature and the environment. A healthy and safe natural environment improves the residents' quality of life. I guess it says more than it's possible. too. Lahti is really green city, and it has some grants for that, which like give you some examples of that what you can do for the environment. Lahti is a very old settlement, like the oldest settlements in Finland were here in Lahti region about 9,000 years ago. But at the same time, it's quite a young city. It became city like in 1905 only, and it used to be quite industrial. And still in the 1970s, it was very like heavily industrialized. And here in the picture, you can see one of our about 50 big lakes that we have here in our city. It's a Vesijärvi lake, and now you probably admire it and think like, what like beautiful clean water and a great environment and nature. But it has not always used to be like that. There was so much industry here, but then citizens like woke up and wanted to return the lake to its initial condition, and they started purifying it. They stopped polluting it. They introduced different species of fish that helped to improve the environment. And already in 90s, its situation started to improve. And in 2021, we became European Green Capital, also thanks to the story of Vesijärvi Lake. And now we are becoming nature positive city and carbon neutral city. Carbon neutral means that we are climate neutral. We haven't been using coal since 2019 already, and we promote circular economy. We have wonderful waste sorting facilities here, and we are almost waste free because we recycle and reuse about 100% of waste. For example, we make biofuel of bio waste here, and we have lots of other beautiful examples. Like we use roofing felt to make asphalt, and we use the decommissioned landfill. Like we don't have landfill anymore, but we have the decommissioned one, which is not in use anymore, and we collect the gas from there. And Hartwall, a huge beverage plant, uses this gas in processes. So we try to use everything, and why we managed to do that? Because for us, participation is very important. We believe that this environment where we are now, it belongs to everyone, and everyone has a voice and right to influence, to offer an idea. And everyone here, like citizens and schools, universities, businesses, city, like authorities, they like all work together and brainstorm together. And we are trying at least to be nature positive, to bring more benefits than harm to nature. And for example, we have parks where we have the rule officially, we have green flag parks because there works the rule that the park should stay after visiting the same condition that it was before your visit, or even in better condition. And we arrange all kinds of sustainable events, like international sports events, cultural events, but they are arranged sustainably. And then when we hear all those great examples, like when whole regions or countries have improved something, maybe sometimes it can feel like, okay, but what can? It's so huge. I wouldn't do that alone. But what can I personally do right now? What kind of small step I can do? And when I was thinking about myself, analyzing why am I the person I am now? Why I'm acting the way I'm acting right now? I came up with the idea that maybe we have, at least here, the personality. Like I've always felt being like nature oriented, that kind of caring and creative person. Then because of background, because I've been teaching and studying biology, ecology, and different environmental issues for long. And also I've been in such environment where has been always like lack of resources that has taught me to take care of the resources and to be creative using them and saving them and reusing them. And the present environment, like we are here in Lahti, which is green. I'm surrounded by same like careful people that take care of others, of the environment, of nature, of our city. And the internet is also that kind of environment where I find myself quite often, and I try to use it smartly. And I've noticed that you can really successfully teach algorithms like to offer you the information that you consider like, let's say, healthy food for you. That it really depends what you click and what you want to read, or what you when you go to Facebook, do you want to read like everything that Facebook offers you, or do you have any purpose why you are visiting it? Do you want to learn something about definite colleague and see what he's sharing, for example, about environmental issues again? And then speaking about circular economy, it sounds like big, but in fact, for example, here in Lahti, we say that waste treatment starts from kitchen, and because we sort waste at home, and the better you sort at home, the better it's sorted. Then the higher the rate of the reuse and recycle. And we teach our kids at schools and kindergartens to sort the waste properly and to compost and everything. And then they come home and teach their parents and grandparents. This is how we like. These are the leverages that we use to improve the environment, whatever you consider it to be. And then, of course, like maybe it comes with age and experience and something you become like, let's say, picky with that, who you are surrounded with, who is your environment, if you speak about like social environment, because time is very precious and your resources are very precious. And also being proactive and creative, so I guess it's really important, and being like critical, accepting the different kind of information. And speaking about like exactly like working life, being a guide, I have a choice like to specialize in something and to design the tools where I'm strong in, and that can result to in what I like them to result like. And I try to create creative programs, interactive programs that like not just tell visitors where we have like city hall and the market square and everything, but to get people involved so that they start appreciating the place where they are right now, where they live, and they get started being interested in this place because they know something about it, and they start taking care of it. Taking into account that, like, gathering all the rubbish and all those basic things. You don't have to teach them after that, like why you should keep the streets clean and everything when these streets start meaning something to them. And also I guide in the so-called health forest. We have the concept of health forest. Actually, it's any local green area that is close to you, and and you can visit it, and it's great if you visit on a daily basis, or at least a couple of days, a couple of times a week, because it's a fact, scientific fact, that even half an hour a week, if spent there in the green area, helps you a lot, improves your well-being so much. And then you can fulfill, we say, invitations or like exercises there in that health forest. Like, for example, you can just try to notice all the smells that are in that your environment where you are now, or try to touch different surfaces, or take a look at different. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okej, to ja powinnam już jeden. Okay, thank you, Marta. Thank you. Yes. So these small things, and you can like, unfortunately, I have no time to share all the ideas of those health forests and others, but like it's a tip for you. Okay, you can Google and search for that. What is concept of health forest? And another interesting concept is eco training. It's also about those well-being tours that happened in nature, or at least in a virtual nature environment. Because even if you show a picture of nature of a forest to a person, it helps already a lot, because not everyone gets an access to the nature. Another interesting example is, I have this on the slide, technical visits plus nature reserves. We have a great waste treatment center here in Lahti, and just close to it, the neighboring area is nature reserve area. And I have such a problem when we visit that waste treatment plant. There are like the different facilities that the whole symbiosis. And people just see different like much waste and all those facilities, and get impressed how much it's sorted and then reused and recycled. And then after that, we visit the Maya that I showed you there on the one of the first slides, which is unique nature reserve area right there. These types of projects, for example. And they really impress people, even locals, trust me, like especially locals, I would say that, because quite often locals don't know much about the area where they are, because we all have much routine and everything. And of course, here we have Salpausselkä UNESCO Global Geopark, and we have lots of programs arranged there, and including different kind of educational camps, also for international visitors, for international teenagers, and for locals too. And it really impresses people that here you can drink tap water even in public bathroom, because it's groundwater here in Lahti. It's very pure. So these kind of things, I guess that I don't have time anymore. But the summary would be that though environment is so global, but every little action counts. And I wish that you could think now, after the webinar, what can you do really today already to improve your environment? What kind of very little step you can take to improve it? And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Inga, for your insightful presentation. Sorry?
Inga. Yes.
It's very difficult for me to pronounce correctly.
I understand.
I apologize for that. Okay. Are there any questions or notes about Inga's presentation? Okay, thank you very much. So let's go to our second presentation, and now I would like to introduce our second speaker, Ronja Karkinen. Ronja began her civic engagement at the age of 14 and organized her first climate protest at 15. Very active young women. Okay. She has been since then actively involved in various organizations and networks within her communities. Currently, she works at Plan International as a volunteer and school collaboration planner, where she leads a group of climate influencers of young people in Finland and Uganda. Great. She also visits schools to talk about sustainable development and is currently writing research on the planetary triple crisis, which will be published next June. Without further delay, let's hear about Ronja and her presentation. Ronja, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here with you. I also share my screen first, and please, George, tell me then how I succeed. Here we go.
Yes, I can see myself many times. Okay, now.
Okay, and now you see it. Okay, great. So, environment as the topic. It's a broad topic, and I appreciate how like you, Inga, presented it in this scholar way. But let's see what is my point of view now. Few words from my story, which was already well presented and has been presented to you as this has been advertised, this webinar. So maybe I'm not saying everything again, but maybe it's a fact that the Millennium Goals, if you know the pre-Agenda 2030 goals, were those that woke me up when I was 14 years old, and we were in school and really having this discussion that how to achieve these goals. That one of them is that we should halve the extreme poverty and hunger. And it was like shocking to me, because I have had this very nice childhood to myself, that actually the world is still having hunger. And this made me like, I think that really there is such problems that we need to then work on. And as I have then grown as an adult, I have realized that the climate change is the one major issue we have, together with all the environmental issues we have, and actually they're hindering all the good work that we might otherwise have in all the sustainable development in this world. So this is greatly linked to everything. I had some bullet points here, what I did as a university student. As I was studying in Jyväskylä, I understood somehow that there would be people from Jyväskylä, but maybe not so many. So mentioning Jolppi ry by a name, so you could go to this organic food circle, will maybe not be so interesting for you. But yes, going on from myself to the world, well, when I think about environment, I think about the problem that we truly have this big problem, which is called planetary triple crisis. This is introduced, this term, by the UN on the year of 2022. It's not a perfect term to really like focus on all the like different levels of problems that we have with the environment, but this is something that you can still grab, and it somehow like makes it clear that there is many levels that we need to have this discussion. One of them is the climate change, which we all know. Other is biodiversity loss, which is the loss of species, but also the loss of environments and loss of certain types of areas, like the change in the how we use land. And then also pollution is a big issue when talking about microplastics, and also bad air quality. That is really actually one of the world's biggest killer. So really great problems, and somehow this planetary triple crisis term tries to make you think about this together. So we have to be able to think climate change and biodiversity loss and how they affect each other, how they affect pollution. For example, now we know that in some ways also the reducing of pollution is making climate change bigger, because it's reducing those like pollution clouds that could keep the sunlight out of or the sun warmth out of the planet. So there is also this how they are connected together. So it's not always like yeah, it's not always like good. We really need to see which are the good ways to act and how we really can promote all these things at the same time. There has been awful news actually last week. The 2024 State of the Climate Report said this strongly, if you read it. So this is like absolutely, this is for study, very big study from many climate scientists made in Oxford University. So really, yeah, good quality study, and they are so bold. Like, this is a horrifying situation we are in. We really need to act. And also they said that we are still going the wrong direction, that we are still having more fossil fuels than ever before. We are still like, we are not even like, we have not succeeded to like step it down. Like, still we would have problem if we would be going down with our fossil fuels, but we are still going up with them. So really moving in a wrong direction. We are seeing the serious impacts of this crisis. We are seeing human suffering and things that we can't turn back anymore, but really just to like minimize the bad effects. And also they like, as we might know it, but still it's something worth to mention, that this is like situation that the history of humankind has never been in before. Like, we are really on the brink of something completely new. Another one from last week, which is more about the biodiversity. So there is 73% decline in wildlife populations since 1970, according to WWF. So they are making these Living Planet reports like frequently, and really also warning that we really have to in just next 5 years find solutions, because we're going towards these tipping points where the actually the change starts to make itself bigger and expanding it. So really the time to act is greatly now. Threats to humanity. And here the Guardian from this week. We had almost none carbon sinks last year, and this is actually something that the scientists have not been able to predict. For example, in this article, one scientist said that it's not in the climate models that when there has been these huge forest fires, for example in Canada, so it's predicted not that those like woods, that those trees that are burned cannot anymore be sinks for carbon. So the models are failing, so that this something like this that should not happen, like this was predicted that maybe after 100 years this could happen, but it's already happening now, that the nature is failing us. It's not taking the carbon anymore, and really to get to net zero, we of course we need the carbon sinks to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide and other emissions to the atmosphere we have already put there. So to get down. So this is also a very bad news, and also here is this Finland mentioned. Usually we are proud that Finland is mentioned internationally, but now we are one of the countries that said that it will do everything it can and be carbon neutral in 2030. But now also we are cutting trees off so much. It's a big discussion here in Finland that we don't have the sink, as so many others do not have the sink. And this is partly because of the climate changes affecting how our forests work, how they can take the carbon in, but also it is because just we know it's a fact and it's calculated that we are having the harvest of the trees. It's too much. Our nature can't have it. Right. Now I come to the Sustainable Development Goals that we currently have until 2030. So this is more than environment. This is like everything that we would like to see in the world. But I think the major like point is that we have to see all this we want to see in the world in this figure, this wedding cake model. This is made by two scientists, Rockström and Sukhev, in 2016, where they are connecting all these layers of this wedding cake with this 17 as the cake stick. 17 is in the Sustainable Development Goals, the working together with others piece. So working together with others, we should do all these things, but have the biosphere, so all the nature-based blocks as the pillar of everything else. So we should look for healthy economy, healthy society, healthy people, educated people, and all of that. But it has to be within the limits of the biosphere. And I think this is really in the center of it all. We have to be able to say that we do have limits. It's clear that we do have limits. For example, in the Finnish forestry, we see that we can't do everything that everybody wants with our forests anymore. We can't just have it all. And one of the theoretical ways to watch this is the donut economics that was created by Kate Raworth, this economic scholar, who I absolutely love this book, Donut Economics, and I would really suggest for you all to read it, how to really have the economy working within the planetary boundaries. And to this, I think, relates very strongly that we are so much connected to measure GDP. We are discussing how to get economic growth and how to really, if we're not having economic growth, how to get back on track with that. But GDP is just measuring money, just measuring everything, anything goes if it just makes growth. But we should actually be measuring what we want. If we got the money, what would we want to do with it, and how to achieve those things, because it's very much like these things are combined, that more money, more harm to nature. It's in personal lives, people who do have more money more certainly do harm to nature in the statistics. Not everybody, but most of people, and also that is seen in nations, that those nations that are wealthy are harming the biosphere. And this is really interesting site that I also would like to recommend you. University of Leeds has made this site A Good Life for All within planetary boundaries, where they have studied all the countries in the world, which are shown here, according to the biophysical boundaries and then social thresholds achieved. So this is based on the Kate Raworth donut economics. So biophysical boundaries would mean climate change, biodiversity, land use change, fresh water, pollution. So there was, I don't remember exactly how many pillars there were, but like seven or something. And then social thresholds are like the Agenda 2030, those things that like good education and healthy life and all the things that we would like everyone to have. And now a country that would be super and really sustainable would be here in 0.11, but there is not a single country. Would you like to make guess about the 0.3 and 1.6? Actually, it's a little bit hard for me to see if there is hands. Yeah.
It's very difficult for us to ask your question, actually.
Sorry. So it's maybe hard for me because I'm in this presentation mode that I actually don't see you. So I maybe tell you the first one. This little is Sri Lanka, and the 1.6 is Vietnam. So one would say that Sri Lanka and Vietnam are the most sustainable countries in the world.
Okay.
Then here is big India in 1.1, and China
The other big one is China. Okay.
Yes, that is China. Yeah. And then United States here in 7.8, and Finland would be in this cluster. There is also other Nordic countries in 6.10. So this is also very important when discussing all the development that we are proud of achieving. Of course, we should be proud of achieving the social threshold so well that people are actually having a good life in Finland, like mostly, and when comparing. But then we really should not be too satisfied with ourselves if we are going over biophysical boundaries so much, and really how to couple this phenomena that these things are going so hand in hand. So then I go to what everyone should do in their own life. I think everyone should avoid fossil fuels, and this is not just avoid, but really like full-heartedly put attention to it, avoid. I have not myself been flying, for example, in 7 years. I don't know if I someday might have a really important work trip that I should be doing by plane, but I'm now making one work trip 2 months from now, and I'm now having my whole team to do it by train. So we are going by train to Strasbourg. So yeah, and no like holiday flights. So this is me avoiding fossil fuels with my heart. Then circular economy would mean that you, of course, you want to recycle what waste you make. I hope that would be something that every single one does, but then we have these recycling studies that actually people don't do that so much that they should. That's something that I really don't understand. But of course, this means also that you shouldn't be buying things that you don't need. Should be buying things that are used, not something like novelty made. And then attention to food. I have this figure here. This picture is from the Eat Lancet Commission that had like top almost 40 scientists 5 years ago from the world to make this a planetary diet, which would, according to their studies, look like this. Like you have half of it vegetables, and then there is some animal sourced protein that fits in this planetary diet, some dairy foods, but mostly like going vegan. And this is made so that it could be healthy for everyone to use, and actually it would benefit people's health to follow this kind of diet, but it also would be sustainable for even 10 billion people, if I said it correctly. Yeah. 10 now we are 8 billion people, and we are going to
now,
10 people.
Currently we are 7 to 8 billion people. In a few
Yes,
years,
okay.
Get 10.
Thank you. Yes, billion was the correct, because in Finnish trillion and billion are different things. Sorry. So we are going to 10 if it's correctly like calculated where the world is going on. So this model would feed 10 billion people in the world. But then those are the things that I would like to see everybody doing. But then I hope that people also have the time and energy, and if they do have time and energy, they would be willing to take part of climate action. So they would really think about it and talk about it. Pay attention. We really need huge changes, and we can't just we really need to look critically to those things that now seem like normal, that this is just a normal day of normal everyday life, and then there might be really big sustainability problems in that. So we need to pay attention and really be critical, which is of course hard, but we are living in times of emergency. And then with others, you can take part to the climate movement. And here I would say it broadly that it can be movements, it can be organizations, it can be maybe politics if one will is interested in that. So some like theme that you think that they are doing something that you are interested in and you would maybe like to take part. And there is so many different ways to act in these movements and organizations. There might be just rallies, but then also writing publications and doing social media and all kinds of that stuff. And normally, like really, they involve everyone who wants to come on board and make change. And then of course also in one's own life, one can contact decision makers, be aware, for example, what you see in your local community, and contact your local councillors. Use your own social media to promote things. Just stay active, whether it's your housing and thinking about this comodinium, that what energy you should be using if you're making a shift in the energy you're using, or then taking amnesty polls internationally. So there is many ways to act also as a single person. And then there is an idea that I have just recently had, that we have this golden rule in the world that one should treat others as one would like others to treat you. But if we put it vice versa, that I do things for you and I would like you to do those same things back to me. So this is maybe not so like this doesn't sound too good, but I think it's important because we are now seeing this identity politics, that somehow people see that, for example, being pro-climate is in people's identity, veganism in people's identity, and somehow like then if you are not feeling that that's your identity, then you are staying against it with your own identity. But then these are not identity questions, but something that really, if people read and pay attention, they find that these are things that really everyone should do. And is it actually thinking that if I'm just being myself, not flying, but saying that you can fly as much as you want, then I'm saying just that I'm a better person than you are. Like I'm capable of something that you are not capable of. So also in this idea is that it's actually appreciation for another person to be requiring some change in that other person. But this is of course also a tricky thing in like everyday action to do. All right, then just one more example from my work. In Plan International, we're having this Finnish Ugandan youth climate group that has been working for 2 years. And from this year, we were advocating for the visibility of climate issues in the European elections, which were in June. And now on this autumn session, we are advocating towards climate justice in the international climate negotiations, which is starting next month. So there are going to be big decisions in that meeting. There was last year actually 70,000 people attending to that meeting. So it's a huge international meeting. I think maybe in Azerbaijan this year there might be as many, at least. It has been growing for many years. But they are having a very, very big and important discussion about climate funding. It was agreed in 2009 that rich countries should give poor countries 100 billion euros, $100 billion yearly to really make climate action. And now we know that there is so much more need that we actually should be talking about trillions. And trillions are a huge sum. So, but really, it's about it that there are countries that are doing emissions, and then there are countries that are not causing almost any of the global emissions, but the climate change is hitting it the hardest, and that's so unfair. And also, those countries that are not doing the emissions usually are those countries that don't have so much money to make their own climate action, and they need support. And it's actually in the Paris Agreement that their action should be funded. It's mitigation, adaptation, and loss and damage. Loss and damage just came in this discussion last year when it was agreed that we should have also funding for that. So mitigation is that we really have to have money for every country to make climate action. Then adaptation is that how to like be prepared, how to cope with the changes that we see and we know that are accelerating. And loss and damage is that when something bad happened, how to like rebuild, for example, the infrastructure that has been damaged. And then also loss, that if something is lost completely that used to be there and which cannot be like adapted to, because there are many things. There are human lives lost. There are good example are those little island states that are afraid that they will be lost completely, all the countries. So there will be losses that cannot be avoided, and how to compensate, if that is a word, that loss to those who have seen it. Yeah, but there is in these pictures is our Instagram page, Plan Youth, that there are many ways we have been working for it. We have had rallies, we have had videos, we are contacting the decision makers. We are having this webinar in 2 weeks time about it and asking the negotiators to come. So there is so much to do and creativity to make change. And then just last words, not from myself, but from Antonio Guterres, the UN head secretary, which I think he's talking about the right things in this world, that if we are not doing more action, Agenda 2030 will be a picture of the world we could have had. So really, he's hoping every state to step up and do more. And I think that is a good message for every one of us, that let's do more and let's make this world a better place, really. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ronja, for your very, very interesting presentation. Do you have any questions about the topics that Ronja analyzed in deep? Okay. So in this case, I have to thank both of our speakers, Inga Blomqvist and Ronja Karkinen, for their inspiring presentations and valuable insights. And as we come to the closure of today's session and webinar on the topic of environment, I want to give give you a big thank you to all of you for joining us today. And please take a moment to fill a short evaluation form. You can find the relative link in the chat box. And thank you very much. We are waiting for your feedback, not only for this webinar, but for the two others that we had 2 weeks ago. If we have nothing else to add, okay, I want to thank you once more. Have a nice evening. and see you in the future in more relative topics. Thank you very much.
Thank you.